Good morning, Lyn Christian at Soul Salt, and we're helping you strong start your day with 4 things you may want to know about focus management. The reason we're talking about this is I have been abysmally not good at these kinds of things. I have been really terrible at focusing. A little bit of ADD or ADHD, and I'm on my way looking at things that would be labeled as distractions instead of focusing on and being comfortable with taking purposeful action. There's so many things, so many clutterful things that can be in your life that could cause you to need to cut through the chaos. So we're going to show you 4 things you may need to know. The first one is daily planning. While I was working at Franklin Covey, there were 3 things, and then I'm going to add a 4th one that I've learned since, that all the world-class time managers used. First one, daily planning. Here's how it can look using a thought map. Here's your day. And as you sit down to plan your day, and you need to plan, we need to do daily planning. So that's the first one, do daily planning. I'm thinking of all the things that I could do today. I have a TV that needs to be repaired. I have a vacuum that needs to be repaired. I have a presentation I need to work on. I have social media I need to work on. I have a book I'm writing. I have a meeting with my team I need to schedule. The one that I'm already going to have, I've already scheduled. And I also need to remember to mail some taxes. So those are some of the things I think about for my day. Next thing I would do after I've dumped out all the possible things that I could focus on, that I could have purposeful action toward, I look to say, well, what would actually be a distraction? These are all things that need to get done, but which are a distraction if they don't have to be done today? And as I look at that, the vacuum and TV repair can wait. The book needs to have something done today. The presentation needs something. Social media needs something. If I can get to meet the meeting schedule and the mailing the taxes, that's great. So now I know I have 3 things that are my priorities. I found those. Now I go into my schedule and I find the time slots where I'm going to put those. So that's daily planning. The next thing that you need to know about focus management, because where we focus our energy and our attention, our time follows, is weekly planning. So the way I approach weekly planning is with a thought map as well, because a thought map is not a list. A thought map is a function of brainstorming, divergent thinking that sort of mimics your own thinking. So now I'm looking at weekly. Well, we always need to have team meetings weekly. It's like a huddle so the team knows where we're working. I always need to have writing time. Remember, I said in my daily planning I needed to work on my book. And I also am working on blogs. On a weekly basis, we also need to have time to talk about our podcast and work on our podcast. I need time to see my clients. I need time to prepare for presentations. You may remember that was also something in my daily. And we also have time for checking in with the team, not just for huddles, but in between. So I look at the things that help my week run well. I brainstorm those, and then Shannon and I sit down and we put them into our schedule. So now we have a weekly flow. So big chunks of time are already devoted to things like writing and presentation time. Team meetings already been established. Client time has already been blocked out. Check-ins have not, so I have to keep that kind of on my radar in the time of need. I need to be aware that I need to make myself available. And guess what? Podcasts have also been scheduled. So you want to do a brain dump of all the things that probably feed those big established dreams that you have, aspirations, goals, or projects. You need to give big chunks of time to those during the week. So weekly planning. Once a week on Sunday night, I look out at my week and remind myself of what those big things are that I have, how much time I have for my writing, and it sort of informs my daily planning. Here's something you may not think about. But my daily planning now takes less than a minute. And my weekly planning takes less than 5 minutes. And the reason for that is I've done them so consistently, and so can you, that they don't have to take a lot of time. So I'm devoted to planning, and I'm devoted to following a plan. Okay, what's the third thing you need to know about being better at managing your focus, eliminating distractions, and taking more purposeful action is to do project management. We call it PM, project management. When you have a project, it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's not a process. A process is something you do the same way, like payroll, week in, week out. A project is a new, unique item that has a bunch of tasks bundled in it that would be different, even if you're like a project manager in a construction site, and you have blueprints, and you're putting together homes that sort of look alike. Each home has a unique piece of land and some nuances to it. So each is its separate project. When you have work like that, you want to figure out what's my vision for it and write a vision statement. What are we trying to accomplish? One very simple project we have going on here is we're going to be spring cleaning the garage so that we can better utilize the space. Another project you might have is planning a vacation so that we can have rest and relaxation. So you write a vision statement, it's usually 1 or 2 sentences, and then you want to list out in the thought map, what are you going to have when you're finished? For instance, with the project for the garage, we're going to have clean space. It will feel different, so we're looking for a feeling. It will be more efficient, time-wise and effective when we go in to find something. We'll have less clutter, so there'll be less of maybe a fire hazard, and we'll be happier when we park our cars because it won't be such a Tetris job. So those are some of the things we're going for. If you look at the vision statement and what you're looking for, your intentions that you're wanting, now you know how to have an impact, because now you can break each of these down. The clean space and the feeling means we're probably going to need to wash it out. We're probably going to have to clear everything out on the yard, sort. We're going to take things to the garbage bins. We may even need to take something even further out. We may have to go to the junkyard. Efficient, we're probably going to have a discussion about what we want and need. Less clutter. You can see as you go through, you start to break it down into tasks. So when you start a project, you have a vision statement, some intended outcomes, you can list those here, and by thinking it out, you can have all the tasks, you can schedule the tasks, put them in sequence, what happens first, second, third, fourth, and run your project. So project management, there's daily planning, weekly planning. Project management time takes a little longer, but I promise you, if you spend 30 minutes planning a project, it will cut the time for the actual project in half, or a fourth at the best, or at the least. So project management. What's the fourth thing? The fourth thing is debunking the idea that you can multitask. So we get excited about our ideas. They have a certain fuel. We think we want to have a lot of ideas and a lot of projects going, and that we can just bounce from one to the other like Tigger. But what we find is we lose time, energy, and focus in context changing. So when was the last time that, heaven forbid, you were texting while you were driving, and then when you pulled your attention away from texting, or even changing your channel or whatever you were listening to on Spotify, when you looked up, you went, oh my goodness, it took a while for you to reorient to the road. Every time you pull your attention away from what you're doing, it takes a while to reorient to the next thing. We lose 24, that's almost a quarter of the time, 25% almost, that we lose in our effort, in our energy, in our focus when we jump from one thing to another. And let me put it out here in Sutherland and Sutherland's book, Scrum. If we have one project going, we have 100% of our time and our attention and our focus for the project. We lose 0 in context loss because we switched. But if we have 2 projects, now we can give each project 40% of our attention, and that means that we lose 20% of our focus every time we have to flip. And it gets worse. When we get to 3 projects, we're now giving them each 20%, and we're losing 40%. 4 projects, and we now have 10% to go each to one, and we're losing 60%. And 5 projects means we have 5% for per project, and we're losing 75% of our time, energy, and focus to context shifting, to trying to get back on the page. If you've ever been filling out or working on taxes or payroll and you're in Excel spreadsheet, you know these numbers are true, because sometimes you actually have to start over if somebody pulls you out of your focus while you're working on a very linear, detailed format. So today I'm hoping that this is helping you set up the 4 things you want to pay attention to change your game to be more of a badass of how you focus. Daily planning can take a minute. Weekly planning can take 5. Project management may take 5 minutes to 30 minutes. And not having so many gosh darn things on your plate at once is a wise thing. Go out, cut through the chaos, leave distraction behind, and productive action ahead. Be a badass. Thanks for joining us.